The anti-woke freakout of the week is about Target offering some new clothes in its product line in support of Pride Month. In particular, there is a bathing suit that has a tuck-away compartment for transgender females who don't want their bulge to show. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, it's Dr. David. So cancel culture continues in America, and in particular the attempt to be canceling LGBTQ plus community, members of this community who have seen just right after right, attack after attack happening on them. And now, of course, the attack against companies who support people who have different views than perhaps the protesters themselves do. And my hat's off to companies who wish to be inclusive and to offer products to anybody who wishes to spend money, capitalism, in their store. Okay? Now, conservative commentator Charles Kirk actually on this has said, so let me get the quote right, "I will not allow my kid to be corrupted by this trans agenda." Now, can you please, anybody out there, please offer it up. How is a clothing line in a section of a store corrupting children? I'm wondering how that is. Let me know. Okay, now, why am I speaking up? I'm speaking up because gender dysphoria, which I've talked about before, is a medical condition. People who are not able to do things that make them feel aligned with the gender that they associate with, and the suicidality, depression, anxiety that's been associated with this. But also, this is something that is affecting my patients. And I, as I've always said, am going to speak out for the rights of my patients when there are medical concerns involved. Okay, so now across the country, including in my home state of Florida, of course, there are lots of laws that are either have been recently passed or are being considered and being voted on being passed that are restricting the rights of transgender people in order to help for those who have gender dysphoria, to help them feel more aligned physically and emotionally with the way that who they feel that they associate with, who they're associating with in terms of their gender. Okay. Now, these laws attacking people for wanting to be who they want to be, I don't know, but that's not medical freedom, not in my book. I know it's something that a lot of people think is important, but medical freedom means freedom for everybody. Okay. Now, it is now bathing suit season upon us, right? It's spring into summer. People are going to pools. People are going to beaches. They're going on cruises, all types of vacations. And this can be a really difficult time for people who have gender dysphoria, because a lot of bathing suits obviously are quite revealing of all curves and parts of the body. And people who have gender dysphoria may want to wear clothing that is going to most allow them to feel good about themselves. And in fact, that is the most important, probably, as well as the first step of when we talk about gender affirming care. I know I've made videos about this, but this is, having a person be able to feel who they are. Now, it's interesting because so many of the people who are protesting against this are the people who are supporting laws that will not allow for minors to use puberty blockers, to use gender-affirming hormones. Of course, they're not getting surgery because youth don't get surgeries for these things. So what is a transgender person supposed to do? If they're not allowed to do those other things, well, one of the things that they could do is to wear a bathing suit that makes them feel most comfortable when they want to go through a very, very regular activity, such as going to the beach or to the pool. Okay, so now, this bathing suit that is out there, and again, it's, if you were to see somebody in it, you wouldn't necessarily realize anything because it's just a female bathing suit, right? And so, again, I guess, I don't know how this is offending people, but I guess it is. Now, of course, this also plays into visibility and the impact on mental health. When a transgender individual sees a store supporting them, offering clothing and other products that helps them be who they are, they feel good about themselves. They're feeling like they're actually a part of community, that people care about them. And when you're marginalized, when you're being physically abused and attacked and canceled, It's nice to see somebody actually sticking up for you, for doing something for you. Your mentally will feel better. And when the opposite happens, when they see these types of protests, or just not even having the type of clothing available in the first place, that is a negative mental impact on them. This is about the health of our fellow citizens. So as you know, if you've seen the last few episodes, I've been using a rationale filter in order to help people realize what actions and laws are taking, which are basically an action or law. How is that helping you or your family? How is that helping the community? And who is it hurting? So let's go through that, okay? So for those who are offended by Target selling clothing to appeal to this particular population, how is that bathing suit, how are these clothes hurting you? How is it helping you, for that matter, right? How is that making a difference to you? Now, first of all, it's not something that you have to buy. You don't have to go to through that department in the store. It's a big store. You can avoid those areas if for whatever reason you don't want your children to be exposed to it, or you're so offended that you can't even visibly see such items of clothing. You don't have to go there. You can avoid it. Go to the other sections of the store, whatever you need there. Okay? Also, is protesting this going to do anything from stopping your child or family member from identifying with anything that's not their assigned sex at birth? Okay? If that's who they really are. Right? Is clothing avoiding these clothing gonna all of a sudden stop a person's feeling from happening? Now, ask yourself this question. What if somebody in your family wanted to buy these types of clothing? What if this is who they identify with? I realize some people are excommunicating people from their family, their loved ones. How sad. But I guess that's part of freedom too. You can do whatever you want. Now, how are these aggressive and demeaning activities, these actions, helping your community? Okay, well, first of all, the community members who work at the Target, they're being berated and they're being threatened. I don't see how that's helping your community. People are not feeling safe at work in your community. Also, do you want to have people stopping spending money in your community? Local. This has to do with local jobs. So is that helping your community? If income, if revenue, if it's not going through the community as a whole, obviously there's all kinds of trickle-down effects. People spend money, they make money, they go to other stores. If these financial lines are being cut off, it actually can be quite hurtful to a community. Okay, now, another question is, who is being hurt by these products? I'm sorry, who's being hurt by these protests, excuse me. Okay, and I guess you could say who's being helped. Now, of course, these protests, again, as we said, it's hurting the individuals who work at the store. But also, it's hurting people in the community, as I said, if they can't get what they want. It makes them feel bad. Again, the gender dysphoria. So in my mind anyways, these protests, these actions, again, I would love for you to let me know how these are helping you and your family or your community, but we know it's also hurting people. Now, I realize that people have different points of view, and I love to hear about it. I learn from others all the time. I'm constantly reshaping my views based upon the information that I have. So if you have a different point of view, please share it in the comments. Give me an idea, something that I haven't maybe thought about that you think would be something that could help guide me to be the most well-rounded individual that I can, as well as other people who are watching and, of course, reading our comment section. Now, if you're going to do that, though, super important. If you share these comments, you got to keep it kind. You got to keep it respectful, or we can't keep you around. So, hopefully we all learned something together. Maybe people's minds get changed in one direction or the other. Who knows? But either way, have a great day.